بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. We're continuing along in the Kitab al-Tahara, the book of purification, and the chapter of the vessels and utensils. And we said last week that it's impermissible to use the vessels or utensils made from gold or silver, right? And even for anything in terms of food or drink or making wudu, etc. And then we said it was permissible to use the vessels or utensils of the people of the book if they are pure, there's no najasa upon it, or they didn't use it for something haram, and they have been cleaned, you're sure that they're clean, and then you can use them, right? Obviously if there's other alternatives and it's not necessity, then some scholars don't recommend it because of the preponderance of them using it for something impure. But if there is a necessity or there's no other way and it's been cleaned, then it's okay. It's not a problem. Then he transfers in the same chapter talking about the pure and impure parts of the dead animals, right? Because sometimes you can use containers made from the skin of animals, so he put it under this chapter. He starts off وَالصُّوفَ الْمَيْتَ وَشَعْرُهَا طَاهِرٌ. So the wool and the hair of the mayta is tahir, right? So the scholars, al-mayta is anything that died without being properly slaughtered, right? Or the animals that you're not supposed to eat from, for example, right? That's al-mayta. So he's saying that the hair and the wool from those animals is tahir, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَمِنْ أَصْوَافِهَا وَأَوْبَارِهَا وَأَشْعَارِهَا أَثَاثًا وَمَتَاعًا إِلَى حِينٍ. So Allah says from their, basically the wool and the fur and the hair is like furniture or a type of comfort for you until a prescribed time. So the scholars derive from this saying that anything that has like from the hair or the fur or the wool from the animals, it doesn't have life in it, like the body parts itself, it's considered pure. So you can use it for like containers, or you can use it for clothing, or you can use it for anything basically that's you need for daily life, right? And then he goes وَكُلُّ جَلْدٍ مَيْتَةٍ دُبِغَ أَوْ لَمْ يُدْبَغ فَهُوَ نَجَسٌ. So any skin, so that's talking about the hair and the fur and the thing. Basically things that you can cut off without harming yourself. Like if you cut your hair, you don't feel the pain, right? Even if you burn the hair, you're not going to feel the pain, right? But if it's something that's from the body itself, like the skin now, that's from the body itself, they consider that with something that has life in it. They're saying that the jild of the mayta, the skin of the mayta, is najis, impure, right? You can't use it. Even if it was tanned, according to the Hanabila, or according to a qawl, saying in the Hanabila, Ibn Qudama. You know what tanning is? When you take the skin and you put it, with salted, or put it in the sun, let it sit for a while, clean it and salt it and let it dry out, right? And then you can use it for like rugs and other things like that. That's tanning. So according to the Imam here, that no matter if it's mayta, something that died without being properly slaughtered, if it died from being choked or drowned or bumped in the head or something like that, it was not properly slaughtered, then you cannot use it. So he's saying that the mayta, the skin of the mayta, you can't use it. But other madhahib and other scholars say that if it is tanned, إِذَا دُبِغَ, the Prophet ﷺ said, because one of Safiya, she had gotten rid of a sheep, right, a dead sheep that didn't die properly, it wasn't slaughtered properly, and the Prophet ﷺ said, once you benefit from its skin, right, and she said that it's from the carcasses, it's mayta. He said that if any skin that you tan, it's purified for its use. So a lot of the scholars say that if you tan something, even if it's mayta, it becomes purified. That's an exception to the rule, right? And some scholars go to the extent that any animal, whatever it is, if it's tanned, you can use its skin, right? There's some scholars that say if it's a pork, a pig, or a dog, you can't use its skin. And you'll find like differences amongst the madhahib, but in general the rule is if it's tanned, even if it's dead, mayta, improperly slaughtered animal, you can still, if it's tanned, you can use the skin. So you can use it for like carrying water or carrying clothing or a suitcase or whatever. Is that clear? Alright. وكذلك عظامها. The bones, he's saying, the Imam as well, it's considered najis. If it comes from an animal that's not properly slaughtered, meta, or from animals that we're not allowed to eat from their meat, they consider the bones najis as well, because he considers it as part of a live thing. You know, just like if you cut off the finger of a body part of the animal, it's the same thing. It's considered like from lively thing. It's considered meta, part of the animal itself. You know, a carcass that you're not supposed to use. Other scholars, they say that bones are permissible to use as long as they're clean, right, for other purposes, because some narrations show that the Salaf and the Sahaba used to use the ivory in jewelry and their weapons and stuff like that, and the ivory is taken from the tusks of elephants, right, which is considered a form of bone. So other scholars say that it's permissible to use the bone. It's different. It's not like it's more like the hair or the wool as opposed to the organs and the skin. You guys with me? All right. وَكُلُّ مَيْتَةٍ نَجِسَةٍ إِلَّا آدَمِي. All meta, anything that dies without properly being slaughtered, in terms of the animals, is considered najis, impure, right? Except from the animals, the human beings. Human beings, their carcasses, their dead bodies are not considered najis, because the Prophet ﷺ told us that the child of Adam, the son of Adam, is considered pure, right? Not that anybody's going to eat a person, but just to show the exemption that human beings are considered pure. وحيوان الماء الذي لا يعيش إلا فيه لقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في البحر هو طهور ماؤه الحل ميتته. And also the animals from the sea are considered pure as well, because the Prophet ﷺ said that when he was asked about the ocean water, he said it's tuhur. What is tuhur? Do you guys remember? Pure, but what kind of pure?
No smell.
You can use it for ritual purification and physical purification, right? Tuhur, ma tuhur. You can use it in wudu and ghusl. Not ma tahir, it's different. So he's saying that the sea water is tuhur. You're allowed to use it. And it's hal, it's dead, animals in it is also halal for us. So like a fish, obviously if it's not slaughtered properly, you can still eat from it even though it dies in the ocean, right? And he says as long as it lives in the ocean. He's talking about that because the scholars disagree upon the animals that's called al-bir al-ma'i, or al-bir ma'i, which is basically land and water animals. Some of them say that the bir ma'i, if it's mostly living in the water, is born in the water, it spends most of its time in the water, then you can use it. It's considered under the same ruling as the animals of the sea, right? And other scholars disagree with it, so it's kind of an exception to the rule. But in general, any animal that comes from the water, any sea creature, even if it dies without you, catching it or slaughtering it, is considered permissible to eat. The Prophet ﷺ, he also said that أُحِلَّ لَنَا مَيْتَتَانِ وَدَمَّانِ. So two types of carcass or meta, things that died without being properly slaughtered, and two types of blood are permissible for us. You guys know what they are?
Blood?
Yeah, so animals that died without being properly slaughtered, there's two types that we're allowed to eat from them, and then there's two types of blood that we're allowed to eat from.
Seafood?
So seafood, that's one of them, yes. Any animals from the sea. أما الميتتان في السمك الجراد والحوت. So jarad, you know what jarad is? Like locusts, the insects. You're allowed to eat from that without slaughtering it. And the fish, anything from the sea, right? And amma damani, the two types of blood, it's the liver and the spleen, from the body parts of the animals. Those are halal for us as well. Right?
If it's dead.
Yeah, if it's dead.
If it's
So if you properly slaughter the animal and it's from the animals we can eat, obviously that's what we're talking about. Because in general, you're not supposed to digest blood or take blood. But if it's a najis, if it's meta and najis, you're not supposed to eat from it, obviously. Right? It's anything that part of the body of najis, of meta, takes the same hukum as that. Alright? وَمَا لَا نَفَسْ لَهُ سَائِلَةٌ إِذْ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُتَوَلِّدًا مِنَ النَّجَاسَاتِ. And anything that does not have blood in it, so meaning basically most insects, as long as it's not, it does not emanate from impurities, right? Meaning, like, sometimes the maggots and stuff that come from feces or some impure matters, that you can't eat. But other insects in general that don't have blood to it, it's permissible. They're considered halal. Right? So this is the completion of the utensils and the vessels. He added this part basically mainly for the skin purposes, and then he goes on to the next chapter, which is the etiquette of using the lavatory or qada al-haja. Right? You guys want to start that one? طيب. Okay, bab qada al-haja, using the lavatory, using the restroom, using the bathroom. It's referred to in the books like adab qada al-haja, or the manners or the etiquettes of using the restroom, or adab al-khala, using, like, al-khala is a place that's basically far away from the people, free from people, basically, the manners of using it. And the Prophet ﷺ, taught us, like some of the scholars say that, and even everything that we need in life, and all the scholars basically say that we know that we need in life from the Quran and the Sunnah is taught to us, right? Even using the restroom, like the Prophet ﷺ taught us how to do that. So there shouldn't be like shyness in it, like the issues of using the restroom, the issue of woman issues, everything like that we find in these books of fiqh to show us how to live our life correctly, right? So it's kind of a miracle of the Sharia, how all the things we need in life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us through His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in this stage now, so he's talked about the waters, the vessels to contain the waters, and now, like, basically how you're going to clean yourself after you need to use the restroom. You clean yourself properly and use the restroom properly with the etiquettes of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going in and coming out. So he starts, يستحب لمن أراد دخول الخلاء أن يقول بسم الله أعوذ بالله من الخبث والخبائث ومن رجس نجس الشيطان الرجيم. So it's preferred or recommended for the person entering into the restroom to say that in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I seek refuge with Him from some say the female or the male and female jinn, or some say any type of evil or corruption or filth or impurities. Basically, you're seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from that, and from the cursed and filthy shaitan. So if you're going into an actual restroom, like a physical building, like a room, right, this is what you do when you enter. Right before you enter it, you say this dua. If you are out, like in the desert or in the woods or somewhere, like, far away where there's not an enclosure, when should you say this dua?
When you're in the bathroom.
No, like say you're out in the woods or you're in the desert, there's not like a physical enclosure.
Right before you go?
Basically, yes. So the scholars, they say as you're walking towards the area you're going to actually do your business, or when you're lifting your clothing to do the act of using the restroom, you say this dua, like right before you do that. And then you seek, so like this is the shayateen or the jinn, they like these places of filth in general. So it's a way to protect yourself from their evil and from their malice and from their corruption, right? Also, it's like you're remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all of your affairs. So you're seeking protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the cursed shaitan as well, because he tries to get to you through any means possible, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us he is our enemy, right? The shaitan's main purpose is to try to misguide human beings, right? فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا, so take him as an enemy. So anytime like you have your defenses down, you seek refuge, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, to try to give you more protection against the shaitan. So in these type of places where usually it's filthy or the jinn sometimes come around it, you're seeking extra protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from them. When you leave the room, or you leave the place of using the bathroom, وإذا خرج قال غفرانك الحمد لله الذي أذهب عني الأذى وعافاني. You go out and you say that you seek refuge or forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you praise Allah who has gotten rid of the harm from you and given you health, right? The first part is an authentic hadith, the second one is not that authentic, but the meaning is correct. So why do you say غفرانك? Why do you say Allah forgive me after you've finished? What do you think?
Because Allah has saved you from any evil.
I mean, you ask Allah for forgiveness. So that part first.
if you, I don't know, missed a step or anything?
Yeah, so some scholars say if you've missed a step, if you've forgotten Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or if you, for example, got some type of najasa upon you and you don't know about it. And other scholars, they say because in that time period it's not recommended to do dhikr or read Quran or remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the true mu'min, like the true, and also especially the students of knowledge and the people of knowledge, their time is so very valuable, right? So even in that time period when they're not able to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like out loud, or read the Quran, or do dhikr, or have some type of knowledge, or benefit, or good deeds, they ask Allah to forgive me for that, because that's for them that's time wasted, right? Even it's reported about some of the scholars of the past, they would actually have somebody stand outside the khala and read for them something so they won't lose any time. So some scholars say, it's for that time that you pass without being able to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he deserves to be remembered. So you say, oh Allah, forgive me for this. Even though it's a mubah action, obviously it's a necessary action to do, but just to show the high levels of iman of the people, the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us to say, ghufranaka, right? Oh Allah, forgive us. And then the point of helping us to have that health. Imagine if you couldn't go to the bathroom. Like, what would you do? There's certain people, they can't use the bathroom naturally. They have to have machines, or they have to plug in bags or something like that just to use the restroom. So think of the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he takes this filth away from you. The ability just to use the bathroom is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a story of, I think I might have mentioned before, one of the pious people, the king would always try to get him to come and sit with them, and he'd always try to avoid the king, and then, so he asked him, is it, how, like, you don't really care about the dunya, like you're so, pious all the time. And he said, I'll ask you a question, right? If you were to be, for example, in the middle of a desert, and you had nothing and you're about to die from starvation, would you give half your kingdom for a glass of water? And he said, yes, of course, like to survive I would give half my kingdom just to drink some water, right? And then he said, okay, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped you from urination, like you couldn't go to the bathroom, would you give half your kingdom to be able to urinate, right? And he said, yes, I would give half my kingdom for that. So he said, what is your kingdom worth to me except a glass of water and a urination, right? Your whole kingdom is like nothing but just drinking water and using it. But the point is that ability just to use the restroom, like if a person is stopped from able to use the restroom, he can die from it actually, right? The kidneys get backed up with chemicals, urea, which is deadly. It's like a poison basically, and it can kill you. So some people, they have kidney problems. They have to go to get dialysis and have their kidneys cleaned all the time, throughout every day of their life. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gives most of us this ni'mah, this benefit. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this gift just to use the restroom, right? It's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the dua that the Prophet ﷺ taught us to make in terms of asking for forgiveness. And the other one, the meaning is correct in terms of thanking Allah for getting rid of this harm from us and giving us health. Yes?
Do you have to make the dua every time? Like, say if you step in, and then say if you forgot something, then you step out, and then you go back in. Do you have to make that dua again?
It's a sunnah in general. You don't have to make the dua at all. It's just encouraged. So, the more you do it, the better, inshallah. ويقدم رجله اليسرى في الدخول واليمنى في الخروج. And you should enter with your left foot and exit with your right foot. And this is just the general sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. There's no clear narrations basically about it, but just the general sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. When he did something he liked, or something good, or something beneficial, he would use his right hand or his right side, like to enter into the masjid with your right foot. And if you did something that's like cleaning up or inappropriate, or not, that's like befitting basically, you'd use your left hand, right, or your left side. So to enter into the khala, into the bathroom, the Prophet ﷺ, or the scholars, they say that you enter with your left, and then when you go out to the restroom, you use your right foot. ولا يدخل بشيء فيه ذكر الله تعالى إلا من حاجة. And you should not enter into these areas. Okay, so also when you're leaving, if you're going into the bathroom, like a physical enclosure, we know what to say and when to say when we're going out, right? But if you're in an area, like we said, in the woods or in the desert or some area that doesn't have a proper enclosure, basically when you start to walk away from that area, that's when you say the dua. of khuruj, right? And this part here, you don't enter into these areas with something that has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name upon it, except for haja, a necessity. The haja would be, for example, in some Arab countries, or even back in the time of, the early generations, that the money would have the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on it, like Bismillah, right? So in this case, you obviously wouldn't leave your money outside because it might get stolen. And some scholars say too, like with certain books, especially back in the days, the books were very valuable. Not everybody was able to get books, so if you feared that would get stolen, they said you can like put it inside your pockets or something like that to keep it safe. That would be a necessity, right? But in general, you don't like to bring something that has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's names upon it, or stuff that's religious, or you don't want to talk in the bathroom in general. It's not from the adab. Like you're basically doing your thing, and then getting out. It's not encouraged to stay there long. It's not encouraged to read, in there, and to, take time there. Basically, you just do what you have to do while you're in there, and then keep it going, because it's not a place that you want to stay long times in.
Can you whisper the dua? Like, let's say you forget to say it before you enter, and then
you can say it in your mind. Yeah, you say it in your mind, inshallah. It's better to say it with the tongue, but before you enter. But it's not like to talk while you're in the khala, and it's not like to mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because one of the sahabas, they came and said salam to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam while he was, using the khala, and he didn't return it until after he got out, and then he said, I just like to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a state of ritual impurity. So after he finished, and even they said that he made like tayammum, and then he said assalamu alaikum, he returned assalamu alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So the scholars derive from that, it's not recommended to mention the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or to even talk if you can avoid it while you're using the restroom. Nowadays some people, they'll have conversations with each other while they're using the restroom. It's like they have no shyness or haya. Khala, the word khala itself means khaliya min an-nas, like to be free from people, because the companions at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they used to like to use the bathroom far away from the people, so nobody can hear them or smell them, obviously, or anything like that. It's like a private issue, or to see their awrah. They want to be covered, right? They don't want to show off their private parts. One of the hadith interpretations, the person being punished in his grave, كان لا يستتر من بوله. Some scholars say he didn't used to clean the urine from himself properly, and some scholars interpret it saying that he did not cover himself, like he used to urinate in front of the people. He didn't care if they saw his awrah or not. And the Prophet ﷺ told us, "Ihfad awratik," protect or cover your awrah. You shouldn't show your awrah to anybody except like your spouse if you're married, But in general, the Muslim is encouraged to have some type of shyness and be away from the people when he's doing those type of acts. Yes.
So how about like where you make wudu here, like where say like you're making wudu at the place,
right?
Like talking there, would that be okay?
No.
Even though if it's in like.
Yeah, as long as you're not in the area where you're actually using the bathroom or doing the act of using the bathroom. But in the place of like wudu, it's a little bit different. Some scholars say that you should be occupied with the wudu itself, because you're in a kind of ibadah, in a form of worship, and you shouldn't be like distracted by talking and thinking about frivolous things. But you should be getting ready to go face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it's not the same ruling as when you're in the bathroom or using the bathroom.
What about bathrooms that are in a room, like in a bedroom? How nowadays like there's like a bathroom in the bedroom.
Yeah.
How would you, since a bathroom such?
But there's a door to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's different. It's not the same. Yeah. As long as there's a door, it's different. Also, some scholars say like those big bathrooms that have like the sink and the bathtub and everything like that, they would consider the portion of the toilet itself like the area of dispute, but not like the sink. When you're saying like if you want to say Bismillah before you're making wudu and stuff like that, some make that exemption. And then he says, وَيَعْتَمِدْ فِي جُلُوسِهِ عَلَى رِجْلِهِ الْيُسْرَى. There's a weak narration, but it's not authentic, that he said the Prophet ﷺ used to lean on his left side, more when he's using the bathroom, like when he's squatting down, using the left side more. But there's no it's not authentic. Basically, it's not to the level of Sahih. Imam Ahmad's madhab, in general, you'll find a lot of times he'll use a weak hadith if there's no other hadith available, or ayah obviously, or ijma'. He would use like the weak hadith, that as long as it doesn't contradict the sharia, in place of that. But many of the other scholars say no, if we have enough authentic hadith that we don't really need to use the weak hadith. But you'll find in some narrations he'll put there that are not technically authentic. But some scholars say that medically speaking, it's better to like be squatting down and leaning on the left side. If it's proven medically, then that's fine, alhamdulillah. But in terms of the sharia saying you have to, or it's sunnah to do this, we shouldn't say that because it's not authentic hadith. وإن كان في الفضاء أبعد وأستتر. If he's in outside using the restroom, he should be away from the people and cover himself properly, right? Being away so not to hear something unpleasant for the people or not to see something unpleasant, to be covered properly. ويرتاد لبوله موضع رخوا. And he should use, if he's going to urinate standing up, find a place that's not going to splash back upon him, right? So like there's a report that Prophet ﷺ urinated standing up in a area of like trash, and stuff like that. The earth was soft, it accepted, it's not going to splash back upon you. It's permissible to do that. ولا يبول في ثقب ولا شق ولا طريق ولا ظل نافع ولا تحت شجرة مثمرة. And the person should not urinate in a hole or a grove or a path or a beneficial shade or under a fruit-bearing tree. So these are all kind of common sense, but basically to avoid being cursed by the people. The Prophet ﷺ said that, fear the two curses, اتقي الملاعن أو الثلاثة, the three curses, البراز في الموارد وقراءة والطريق والظل. Avoid the three curses or causes of curse, which is causes of cursing, being cursed, which is urinating in the water sources or on the paths or in the shade, right? So in general, you don't want to cause harm to anybody. People, if they step in something they don't like, they're going to be like, damn this person or whoever did this, so you don't want to get that curse, right? And these are the places that, also they said the thaqab, the holes, sometimes there might be animals there, and the animal could jump out at you if you're urinating in that or using the bathroom. So that's dangerous, and it could hurt you. It's not good to stop yourself from urinating in the middle of your urination. It's not. They say it's not healthy. So that's one of the things they say not to urinate in areas that there might be animals in it or something like that. The grove, sometimes they say the bigger holes and stuff like that. Some scholars say that like the jinn sometimes live there, so you don't want to do that urination for that reason. The shade, obviously, because sometimes people they sit under shade trees, and the fruit trees, obviously, because they pick fruit from there, so you don't want to have that urination or defecation in those type of areas, right? ولا يستقبل شمسا ولا قمرا. He shouldn't face the sun or the moon. This likewise is not authentic hadith. ولا يستقبل القبلة ولا يستدبرها لقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تستقبل القبلة بغائط ولا بول ولا تستدبروها. The other hadith of not facing the qibla is authentic. Basically, the Prophet ﷺ said, do not face or put your back to the qibla while you're using the bathroom, either defecating or urinating, right? So from the adab of qada al-haja, using the bathroom is not to face the qibla, your front or your back. You should be to the right or to the left, east or the left or the west. Some scholars, they say if you're in a closure, that's exempted from the rule, right? And other scholars say no, in general, you should try to avoid it the best you can.
So what's like the best method to follow for that?
I mean, if you can avoid it, obviously, it's the best method. So you get out of the, yeah.
The restroom you're using is not configured that way.
I mean, if you want to be really safe, like some scholars will just turn using it the different way, for the bathroom. But, you can't, if you can't and it's too difficult, then it's inshallah inside an enclosure, according to some of the madhab, it's exempt from the rule, because you don't have a choice in the matter anyways. But if you had the choice to build a house, obviously to build a bathroom in your house, you would build it, not facing the qibla directly or your back to the qibla. If you don't have the choice, then inshallah you can follow the madhab that says that, if it's permissible within enclosures. If you're outside, obviously, then you can follow the rule, definitely. وإذا انقطع البول مسح من أصل ذكره إلى رأسه ثم ينتره ثلاثا. He said when the urine stops, he should, it's basically like squeezing your private part, to make sure that the urine has gone, and he says 3 times. But there's no authentic proof for this as well. Basically you make sure the urine is stopped, and that's sufficient. You can clean yourself with water or tissue afterwards, and then you're fine, inshallah. ولا يمس ذكره بيمينه ولا يستجمر بهما or بها. And you should not touch your private parts, your front or your back, with your right hand, right? Like we said, that usually you use the right side or the right hand with something that's honorable or good, and the left hand for cleaning purposes or something that's dishonorable or not that good, right? So in this case, you use your left hand to clean yourself, not your right hand. ثم يستجمر وترا, and you should use istijmar is basically using solid substance to clean yourself. So rocks, they used to use rocks back in the day. We have toilet paper, for example, now. And istinja is using the liquid or the water to clean yourself. So if you do istijmar, you should do it witran, odd number of times. And the scholars, they say at least 3 times, So if it was like a rock, you can use 3 sides of one rock, or 3 different pebbles, right? Or 3 different toilet tissues, or 3 sides if they're possible to use it to wipe yourself. It should be witr. And then ثم يستنجى بالماء. So according to this Imam Ibn Qudama, after wiping yourself, you can use water after that to wash yourself. فإن اقتصر على الاستجمار أجزاءه. And if you don't have water available and you only used istijmar, it's sufficient for you. It's permissible, right? And that little type of najasa, because even no matter how much you clean, sometimes there might be a little bit of najasa left, that's forgiven. So a person can clean himself. If there's no water available, they just use toilet paper or a solid substance that's pure, able to use to clean yourself with, then that's sufficient. That's okay. But it's better and more liked to use water, right? Or to combine the both. وإنما يجزى الاستجمار إذا لم يتعد الخارج موضع الحاجة. Wiping would suffice only if the filth that existed did not go beyond the area that usually touches it. So the exact private parts, or the area around the private parts that's normal to be in contact with the najasa, that's the one that it's exempt from that rule, right? It's forgiven. If it gets past that area, like onto your leg, for example, or onto your clothing, then you have to clean that clothing. Unless you don't have water, we will talk about that, but that's also forgiven. But if you do have water available, then that area has to be cleaned if it's outside the normal areas of defecation or urination. ولا يجزى أقل من 3 مساحات منقية. It's not sufficient to do less than 3 times. So 3 times is the minimum wipes, right? If you're using istijmar. ويجوز الاستجمار بكل طاهر ويكون منقيا إلا الروث والعظام وما له حرمة. And it's permissible, or every pure substance that could remove filth can be used for wiping, right? Any type of pure substance that's used can be used to remove filth, except, he says, the excrement of animals. Like we said, the animals that you can eat from their meat, their excrement is considered something pure. It's not najis, right? That's why there's a hadith that one of the Sahabas, he used the urine of the camel to cure himself of jaundice, I think. So the excrement is not, but we're not supposed to use it to clean ourselves. Also the bones, you're not supposed to use bones to clean yourselves. Or anything that is sacred or respected. So like books, or anything with Islamic literature, obviously something like that's usually generally honored or respected, you're not supposed to use. Yeah, we'll stop here inshallah. So that's basically the adab of qada al-haja, and next week we'll go into the beginning of wudu, inshallah.